Level 1. You wake up to rain on concrete and a name that follows you like a curse. You are the most feared drug baron in the country. Your face is on walls, on phones, whispered in interrogation rooms. You open your eyes and the first sound is a silence that feels like a threat. You check your phone. Dozens of unread messages, missed calls, a selfie from a lieutenant, smiling then cut off midway. You move like a king in a ruined palace. Your empire spans cities. Nights are transactions, mornings are rot. Every rival cartel, every mafia family, half the police force, and men who once called you brother want you dead. Your bed is a ledger of betrayals. You remember why you built walls. You remember who you left behind. You stand. Your shadow is longer than your conscience. You leave the room with a gun you never trust and a list of faces you can no longer trust either. Level 2. The first strike happens at dawn. A convoy, your convoy, ambushed outside a gas station. Explosions bloom like bad weather. You are not there. You watch the video feed. Bodies thrown into the air. Your driver crushed by metal. Your heart goes cold for a second. Then the calculation begins. Who knew the route? Which enemy has your muttered pattern memorized? You call forensics, men in suits, old friends who can still move silently. They tell you everyone has an angle. A rival claims responsibility months later. Another faction takes credit in front of cameras. The press paints you as a violent giant and a target. Inside, whispers say the blast had inside knowledge, your inner circle. You cancel meetings, you change your routes, you set traps in places you once considered safe. You begin to count loyalty like currency. Level 3. You cannot trust faces. A lieutenant kneels in front of you and cries about his wife. He tells you someone from headquarters tipped a strike. You feel the old reflex: kill, forgive, measure. Instead, you keep him and make him sleep in the open. You stage an overnight raid drill that turns into an interrogation. A cleaner, a man who used to watch football with you, walks in and refuses to meet your eyes. He has a phone planted on him. When you pry it open, the messages are digital breadcrumbs, coded phrases, meeting points, times. They lead to a church basement where men hand over crates and talk about the baron who will die. You follow, silent as a ghost, and watch your world trade your name like currency. Your men get bold. Your men get quieter. You do the only thing you can still do convincingly. You prove you can be merciless. You take the preacher who arranged the meeting and leave him in a dark ditch with a photo of his family and a warning that stings in the gut. The message spreads. Fear sells better than loyalty. Level 4. They raid your warehouse the next week. Lights, badges, the crash of doors. You watch the feed from an attic above a different warehouse. Breath shallow, heart a steady drum. It is an ambush and a message. Someone inside tipped off the raid. You realize the raid was precise. It was surgical. It didn't aim to seize product. It aimed to strip your logistics, your contacts. You realize someone is cleaning house for a reason. You split your resources into ghost cells. You plant fake shipments and false ledgers and a dozen different scapegoats whose names will burn and then fold. You let one man walk out with a dossier that looks like everything. You infect the rumor mill with half-truths and watch the ripples bend into allies you never wanted. You learn how to make betrayal feel like supply chain management. Level 5. The hardest part is the faces you loved. Your sister used to sew clothes for your kid. She called you by a nickname you haven't heard in years. Now she comes with an envelope and a look that dissolves your armor. She tells you, there are children at the school who can't breathe when your name is spoken. Then she places a photograph on the table. It's your son, hand in hand with a rival's child, smiling. You ask for proof. She gives you a confession, an audio file. Your son's laughter trapped inside it. A lying lieutenant's voice explaining protection money, a favor. You make a trade. Spare the man who arranged it in exchange for proof that your son's life is untouched. It is the first time in years you make a decision that feels like choosing a person over power. You lose that trade anyway. They take your son's freedom for a season. You learn how to bargain with people's lives and how it shrinks you. Level 6. The game becomes math. Everything is angles and probabilities. You recruit old enemies. You forge an alliance with a mafia family that hates your guts. You pay the police chief who knows how to bury a file. You pay more than you used to pay for a quiet night. You deploy undercover agents. men who smile in interrogation rooms as they trade secrets for survival. You receive a tip about a high-level meeting of cartels and cops colluding to carve your territory. You send a ghost team in. They bring back a ledger, names, bribes, real estate shells. You have them. You have leverage. You could end it now. You could pull the trigger that takes them all down. Instead, you sit at a table with bourbon and let the ledger burn. Power is not a thing you use to destroy every threat. Power is a thing you use to make deals with ghosts. You make a choice. Fewer enemies today, more questions tomorrow. But the ledger's memory is a fire that never fully dies. Level 7. You think you are orchestrating the endgame. You misread the board. The twist arrives as a calm knock on your door at 3 in the morning. You open to a woman you thought dead. Your younger sister stands there, hair shorter, eyes practiced to hide storms. She holds a file and a smile that is all teeth. You don't recognize the smile because you made it for yourself. She says, "We both climbed the ladder. You burned the rungs behind you. I learned how to make the climb by watching you." You remember sending her away years ago. Safety, exile, a lie to keep her from the business. She tells you the truth. She never left. She moved through the seams of your empire, learning who sold out for money, who only ever wanted the throne. She was inside the ambushes. She fed the raids. She seeded doubts in your lieutenants. Every betrayal you blamed on greed was a move she made to consolidate the pieces she wanted. You ask why. She answers without hesitation. To survive. Not you. Not your son. Her. She wanted the power and realized the only way to have it was to turn your enemies into a reason to crown her. She did not kill you, she explains. She made you necessary and then disposable. You look through the file. There are photos of meetings you never took, payments you never authorized, a ledger that ties politicians to laboratories, judges to shipments. She hands you a single photograph last. Your son's face, older, free, new name, new life in another country, without you. You understand the final blow. Your sister built a safer throne by making sure you were the target everyone chased. She offers you an out. Walk away, go somewhere no one will look. You will live, anonymous, or stay and be removed, quietly, efficiently. You think of the nights, the blood, the men you buried under fake names. You think of your son's laughter and the dime store mercy you begged for. You think of the thousands who died so your empire could breathe. You make no answer. Your sister closes the file and places a gun on the table. She says with almost tenderness, "Power is heavy. It bends the people you love." She leaves the room. A car pulls up, boots on gravel. The sound you know too well, the click of men who finish what others begin. You step outside to meet them. You could fight, you could run, you could plead. You do none of those things. You watch as your world continues without you. Your sister sits in your chair when the men clear the room. You realize the empire was never yours to save. It was a ladder built of lives. Someone else took the top because they were willing to burn you to get there. You are alive. You are empty. You are the most feared man who has nothing left to protect. Final frame. Her throne is the same chair you polished. Her hands are steadier than yours ever were. You have all the proof to topple governments and ghosts, but the cost to use it is to trade your soul for another night. You lower your head and walk away, not out of nobility, out of exhaustion. You realize too late that every operation, every memory, every betrayal bent toward a conclusion you never wanted. You are hunted until you are no longer a target, but a lesson. You built a kingdom that could only be kept by a monster. In the silent miles, with raindrops like small accusations, you wonder if power was ever worth the price. You hear your sister's laugh reach you on the wind, distant and clean. You close your eyes and remember one thing. She never loved the throne. She loved not losing. The camera pulls away. You keep walking. Somewhere, men raise a glass to a queen who learned how to survive by being kinder, only to herself. You keep breathing. You keep counting the cost. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Crimson Echo. It's completely free, and your next crime story is already waiting.